Well, good morning. It is the 19th of September, 2019, and we are on our way to Hatboro, Pennsylvania. We've got a little bit of a different job to do this morning, and that is we're going to be installing a cat door in a hollow core interior door. My client wants to put the litter box in the basement so he doesn't have to have the litter box in his living quarters. And we're going to show you how to do that right after this. Alright, so I didn't actually show you me pulling up to the home, but we're out in front of the apartment or the house right now, and apparently they are just moving in. The moving guys are here and they're unboxing furniture. So I guess we're going to get this cat door installed and we'll set up shop on the front lawn. Dad. Thank you, man. You got it. Right. Here you go, guys.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Get done early and relax. Sure, you can tell by the hinges, but this little piece of painter's tape on the door represents the inside towards the living space. I want to make sure when I install this cat door that the controls to the cat door for opening and closing and locking it are in the living space and not towards the basement steps. Alright, what you see me doing here is using a framing square to put a perfectly level line inside the lower panel of the door. This door has an inset panel. I'm using the short leg of the framing square on the outer edge of the door, the longer leg on the inside of the panel, and I'm just drawing a straight line. This is very important because if you put the door in slightly crooked and it's real close to that bottom molding of the inset panel, you're going to see it crooked. There's no way to hide it at that point. So make sure you take the time to get a perfectly parallel line to the molding. And this is probably the best way. Measure from one side of the door to the other, figure out where the center is and make a small mark. If your door came with a pattern, congratulations, their job just got a lot easier. This cat door came with a pattern. Measure the pattern, put a center mark on that if there's not already one there. Place it on the bottom line that you drew with the framing square, line up your center lines, and then use some painter's tape to tape it to the door. Another word of advice, or a pro tip if you will, make sure you tape your pattern down really well, especially the corners. When you trace this out with a pencil, the last thing you want to do is have the pencil slip under the cardboard pattern and mar the surface of the door that's already pre-finished. If your cat door does not cover that mark and you try to erase it with a pencil eraser, you'll probably dull the finish down on the door and that error might be visible. Hollow core doors have corrugated cardboard glued on its edge between the front and back panel of the door. When you cut out the center of a hollow core door, sometimes it might feel weak between the two panels. It's a good idea before you tackle this project to have a table saw on hand and some scrap timber, so if you have to, you can rip down some wood real quick and just put it in there along the edge of your cut as a spacer to add strength back to the door. Now you can remove your pattern, but don't tear it. You might need it. Sometimes when you cut through a door, if your jigsaw blade or something is on a slight angle, the two holes from both different sides of the door don't line up properly, you might need it to make slight adjustments. And for those of you that are curious, you see me wearing the shirt that says Philadelphia Fire Department. No, I was not on the Philadelphia Fire Department. I did, however, visit their museum, which, if you're in the area ever, is fantastic. They got some very old fire apparatus there, old tools, and they also have a 9/11 memorial and pieces of the World Trade Center. I was, however, a firefighter, and I did retire from the fire department as a fire chief, but not in Pennsylvania. Use a 1/2-inch drill bit to drill a hole completely through the door. Just make sure that your hole is completely inside of the lines where you traced out the pattern. Drilling a hole in all 4 corners is not necessary, but it does make it a little easier because you can drop your jigsaw blade in any hole and start from any corner. Take your time. Don't rush this part of the process here. It's okay probably if you go over the line a little bit. However, you don't want to leave any of the material that's on the inside of the line, because that's the absolute minimum for the door to fit through, usually in most cases. The outside frame of a pet door is usually somewhere between 1 inch or 1.5 inches. So if you go over the line a little bit, 1/8 of an inch, even 1/4 of an inch, you're probably okay. So if you were paying attention a few seconds ago, you'll notice that I went back to the same hole again and started cutting in a perpendicular direction along the bottom line. This is why I drill 4 holes, so I can keep maneuvering my jigsaw and get the cleanest cut possible. Okay, let me freeze this frame for a second. I want you to take notice to the top of the hole I cut. You see those lines in there? That's the cardboard I was speaking about earlier. This door obviously has plenty of cardboard in it, and it did not weaken it by cutting the hole, so I don't need to strip down any wood and put any reinforcement in it. Okay, so I'm just test fitting the door into one side of the hole here. Seems to fit okay. Now, you've probably gotten to this point, it's pretty easy. This is actually the hardest part of the job, because now I have to hold both sides of the pet door onto opposing sides of the man door while holding a screwdriver or a screw gun and the screw and fastening the two together. It's actually a lot easier if you have somebody giving you a helping hand here. You can do it yourself, but it's pretty frustrating until you get that first screw in. Not that I think you're stupid or anything, but notice the door's upside down. Make sure you turn the pet door upside down as well. You can see the controls on mine are facing the ground. That's because that is the top of the door, and this is the way you want to install it. Now I'm doing this myself, and it is a royal pain in the butt, but it takes me about maybe 5 or 10 minutes before I get the first screw settled in. Understand that this part of the video has been sped up to 400%. If it looks like I'm not having much difficulty getting the screws started in this, that is really not the case. This is by far the most frustrating part of the job. Unless, of course, you have a friend helping you. Now is the best time to make sure that the door functions properly. The locking mechanisms work, the door can be swung from both directions when it's unlocked. You don't want to find out there's a problem after you rehang the door and your customers watching with anticipation.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. If you want to see more stuff like this, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the little bell and you'll be notified next time I upload another video. Thanks. Have a great day and a better weekend.